Good afternoon. Welcome to Creating the Road to a Child Success, Parent Engagement and Involvement Leading to Parent-Provider Partnerships. Today, presenting along with, my name is B.J. Gore, and I'm with Kansas Children's Service League. Presenting with me is Mary Hess from the University of Kansas and Bruce Bynum, parent leader in the state of Kansas. Parents can open our eyes to a new perspective on how to more effectively and successfully provide quality services and support to families. And I think this is so true in terms of the services and the supports that we provide, and help us to see things from a different perspective and how we can better provide those services and support. Our agenda for today is, first of all, we're going to do an introduction to what is parent leadership. Second, we're going to look at how parent leadership enhances the work that we do. We're going to offer strategies for engaging and empowering the parents that we work with. Discuss the parent leadership ladder and what that entails. We're going to show how to utilize a community through collaboration, and then how to sustain parent involvement and parent leadership, and then we'll have a time for questions and answers. Introduction to parent leadership. Parent leadership occurs when parents actively, creatively, and resourcefully contribute to promoting and developing the well-being of their families and their communities. An example of parent leadership can be parents advocate for their children, parents loving their children unconditionally, parents becoming actively involved in school, childcare, and other areas where children spend time. And I think it's so important to have provide the opportunities for parents to really become engaged in activities, not only with other parents but within their communities. Parent engagement and parent involvement. Parent engagement and involvement leads to parents being actively, creatively, and resourcefully involved in promoting and developing the well-being of their children, families, and their communities. Through such involvement, parents can build interdependent relationships with family service providers and other family-focused agencies that seek to enhance the quality of life for families and children. And I'd like to focus for a few minutes on the fact of why the community piece is so important. I had a parent leader from out in western Kansas. She'd been with me many years, and she'd done a great job in working with our programs in-house and working with parents through our support groups. But one day I had an opportunity to meet a young lady who was just graduating from one of the universities. She was wanting to go back and teach school in a community in western Kansas. And she began to share about this individual who had come into their lives. The young girl, father had disappeared on the family. There were 4 children, this young girl being the oldest. Their mother was trying to work 2 jobs, and this young girl had commented in our conversation that she was starting to get into gangs. She also was dabbling in drugs when this lady finally came into her life. And she said this lady had become her mentor, and that she had told her to always be proud of herself and never let anything stand in the way of her dreams and goals. She helped her to fill out application for grants, an application to go to college. And then she also said she even taught me how to make pizza. And as she kept talking, I said, oh my gosh, I said, would this lady happen to be Virginia Samaya? And she said, yes, it was. She really changed my life. And Virginia is a parent leader that had worked with our program for years. What a difference she made of just going into the community and began to support families and children through a parent leadership type of role. The parent leadership ladder consists of, first of all, parent engagement, and then it moves into parent involvement. Then we move into shared leadership, and then parent leadership is the ultimate goal. Parent engagement is that beginning piece when we start to look at how do we engage our parents. What is it that we're going to be doing that will really want them to get involved? And I think that's the clue, is you need to find out what is priorities for parents and how can you make that happen so that they can become engaged. And then involvement is actually making sure they are engaged and make it a very real situation for them. Shared leadership is the beginning of that parent-practitioner partnership. where parents and practitioners work together on different projects. And that's the fun part. That's where you really begin to work as peers rather than as the caseworker, the social worker, the teacher. You begin to really start working from a partnership basis. And then parent leadership is the ultimate, where parents really begin taking on more and more responsibilities, such as being on statewide task force, on community task force, speaking at conferences, helping to write policies and procedures, advocating across the state or within their communities for issues that are important to families and children. And next I'm going to turn it over to Mary Hess, and she'll be presenting on parent leadership enhances our work.
As DJ said, my name is Mary Hess, and I am the community-based child abuse prevention project coordinator here in Kansas. See on the screen that I'm going to talk a little bit about how parent leadership enhances the work, and there's a picture of a cute little girl in there, and that's my niece Isabella. She's 4. And those of you who know me know I like to take pictures of the kiddos in my life in my presentations, because this is why I do what I do, and what we all do. We really care about the kiddos, not only in our life, but all over the state. So parent leadership really can enhance our work a lot by enhancing relationships between families and providers, increasing responsiveness to families' needs. It improves the quality of our programs and services as well. And probably most importantly, it really keeps our programs relevant and realistic. So I have a colleague in Kansas City, Kansas, who works with our CCAP, our community child abuse in Kansas City, Kansas, and she was delivering a parent education class that has some different vignette stories that she really tried to help parents build their knowledge about child development. And the moms and dads who were in her class, they said to her one day, they said, "Miss Sabrina, these stories don't make sense. These stories don't, they're not about me and my family." And so Sabrina took that information and she took it to the program developer of this evidence-based practice, and explained to them what was happening in her community, how her community families didn't see themselves reflected in the parents class. And she submitted an adaptation for an evidence-based practice to be able to make the stories more relevant for her families, and it really helped increase the way that parents in her class are learning. So I think that's a great testament to a provider who is really hearing the parent voice and then did something active about it. Some of the benefits of parent involvement and engagement, again, are that they improve the services for families. They provide also opportunities to affect meaningful change, and the opportunity to network with other families and model community involvement and empowerment. So, again, I think that it's really important to reflect on the way that parent leadership has benefited our families here in the state. And at one point, BJ and I were lucky enough to host a Parent Cafe, a networking and empowerment activity for parents in Wichita. We had quite a few fathers at this particular cafe, and these dads were very active in their children's lives, but they expressed that they didn't feel very appreciated, or that there felt like there could be more programs, services, directed at them. And so their voices were heard, and shortly thereafter in the community, a fatherhood networking group emerged, and those dads really were able to benefit from that. So it kind of comes back to just being able to improve those services and listen to their suggestions and their input, and as families have a say in some of the services that are being provided or modifying some of the services, they're much more likely to do those and really take ownership state assisting with a lot of the parent leadership activities, one thing that we hear a lot is that if we can create buy-in, or if we can create a trust among the parent leaders in the community, they are our most valuable resource in recruiting other parents and in telling other families that the programs and services that you provide are a safe space, are a positive space, and that they should get involved in the services as well. I know BJ and I have had the purpose of many parent cafes in communities throughout the state, and even as those cafes begin, we have other parents who are attending who call their friends and say, "You should really come over here. This is what you need, and there's really great people here, and I'm here to bring your kids because there's childcare." And I mean, recruitment right on the spot for people to come and participate in a parent leadership activity. So I would say engaging with other parents in recruiting potential families. And finally, providing parenting support and networking is key. Providing a variety of volunteer opportunities at a variety of times as well. So if we can consider, reducing some of those barriers that families might have, whether it's their work schedule, or child care, we can provide a variety of opportunities. We're better able to have our families involved. Also provide role modeling and mentoring opportunities. Encourage parents to be part of the decision-making process and collaborate with the community. I'm going to turn it over to BJ now. She's going to discuss examples of parent engagement involved in leadership opportunities.
Thank you, Mary. I think this is when we begin to really start bringing the parent leadership model to life, having the opportunity to show you some of the activities that parents are involved with and some of the things that they do. One thing I want to add on to what Mary was saying in regards to getting parents engaged, involved, and then moving into parent leadership. I've been asked this question many times, how do you recruit parent leaders and how do you keep parent leaders? And one thing that I've heard over and over again from the parent leaders I work with, and this is a very key piece, what parents look for is, do you talk the talk or do you walk the walk? And what they're looking for is partnership with practitioners or professionals that are really going to walk the walk. They're going to do, when they say they're going to do something, they follow through with it. When they say we're going to create opportunities, they follow through with that. And so I think that's a really key piece is if you're going to do parent involvement, engagement, and leadership, make sure that you're going to be walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Examples of parent engagement, involvement, and leadership opportunities. It's really great to encourage parents to serve as mentors, coaches, and monitors for school activities or community activities or church activities. That's kind of the first step in that networking and begin to build other parent leaders. And it's a wonderful learning experience for all the parents involved. Involve parents in helping in writing grants. They're going to bring a different perspective from it that often practitioners don't catch. Enlist parents in coordinating phone calls, reminders, providing training, organized volunteer activities, and recognition events. I love the phone call tree. We created a phone call tree among our parent leaders and their support groups, and it's just worked wonders. It's something that we followed for many years now. But again, it's that networking piece between our parents, and the information they share and the mentoring they do with each other can occur during that time. Enlist parents to share their stories of advocating for their children and overcoming difficult situations. I will tell you, when we're asked to speak at local, state, and national conferences, we always take a parent leader with us, and I think it's so important to hear their story and see how they've been involved in the program and what they've gotten from the program and how they've taken leadership roles. I will tell you this also, that as I've sat back and I've watched the dynamics of the workshops and watched the audience, the ones they're wanting to hear from are the parent leaders themselves. How did this program really affect your life? How were you involved? And so I think it's very important to have them as part of your presentation teams. Conduct parent cafes and have parents be leaders in the cafes. This is a great learning experience for parents, and it's a fun experience. It's in a non-threatening environment. It's kind of testing the waters and helping them get the opportunity to use their skills. Provide the opportunity for parents to lead support groups, and that's what our support group program, the National Circle of Parents, is all about in Kansas. And we have parent leaders that are facilitating groups, such as grandparents raising grandchildren, parents of children with special needs, and these parents have those backgrounds, which really is a benefit to other parents attending the groups, and provide parents the opportunity to attend the Kansas Parent Leadership Conference. This is a wonderful opportunity in Kansas, is the Kansas Parent Leadership Conference. Parents from across the state have the opportunity to come and be involved in different pieces. This past year was just phenomenal. Our Kansas Statewide Parent Leadership Advisory Council, which is made up of our parent leaders from across the state, really took the lead role in this conference and did an excellent job. So if you have parents out there that are interested, be watching for information that will be coming out on the Kansas Parent Leadership Conference that will be occurring in October. I mentioned the Kansas Parent Leadership Advisory Council. The council's been around about 4 years now. Mary Hess was my partner in developing this council. This was a great learning experience for everyone involved, but I think it's really come out great. The Kansas Parent Leadership Advisory Council provides guidance, promotion, and embracement of parent leadership in the communities and also at the state level. And it's wonderful work with these parent leaders and watch them grow and develop and how they learn to advocate, and the issues are the concerns that they're willing to address and to help other parents along the way. And so if you have questions about that, you can feel free to contact either Mary Hess or myself regarding the advisory council. The Circle of Parents Support Group is an evidence-based program that Kansas was a part of. It is seen as with the Childhood Essentials of Childhood by the Center for Disease Control. It is seen as one of those important and one of those pieces of the support pieces for parents. And it is a mutual self-help support group, the model, which really is guided by our parent leaders in the state. And parents have an opportunity to share, discuss their issues, their concerns, and share information and to network. And we've been doing the groups for about 20 years now, and it's really been a successful program. The Parent Cafe, I think, is probably the fun piece of our parent leadership model. It's a non-threatening environment. It's very festive. It's set up in a cafe style. We have balloons, and the parents love it. What is amazing is to watch the parents when they first come in, and nobody is chit-chatting, and everybody's just kind of isolated. And by the time they start networking at the table and talking about issues through the questions that we bring up and talking about solutions, we start seeing that networking and that bonding. And really the cafes, it is a parent-led empowerment activity where parents have the opportunity to share their vision, opinions, future opportunities, successes, and insight into how agencies, schools, child care, and centers and the communities can provide higher quality services, education, and support for families. And we've gathered a lot of great information over the past several years in regards to information that we've gathered from the parent cafes. The next slide you're going to see is one of the parent cafes that we offer at the Parent Leadership Conference. It is one of the most popular of the events. We usually run around 140 to 150 parents that are actively involved in participating in that. Last year, our Parent Leadership Advisory Council and our other parent leaders really took the lead on that and hosted that event at the conference. And Mary, I'm going to turn it back over to you now on the decision-making process.
A little bit about parents being part of the decision-making process. So then sometimes, as practitioners in our work every day, we typically are meeting around what works for those of us who are doing this work every day, and this is our job. And parent leaders, many of them, because they work additional jobs and their parent leadership work, and they're being able to provide information back to us as practitioners often comes back to hours for them. And so the Parent Leadership Conference Planning Committee, understanding that parents need to be involved in the planning process, moves their planning committee calls from 10 in the morning to 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon, depending on when parent leaders are available to be able to be on the calls, to be on the committee. So I think that's very important to remember, that if we want parents to be part of the decision-making process, that may require us to change our habits a little bit and to modify our schedules a little bit to really be helpful to do that. And as part of being on that planning committee, many of the parent leaders were able to provide a perspective that wasn't there before. So, for example, as part of the Parent Leadership Conference, parents come in and they check into a hotel, and one of the parent leaders said that even if parents don't have credit card or debit card, because they know. And it really, just for me personally, it opened my eyes to the fact that, that was just it was an oversight. It was an oversight, on my part, and I thought, well, what a great way to utilize that perspective. To have a parent leadership conference or on the same committee talking about different bumps or barriers that might come up for a parent who might be coming to the conference for the first time. In addition to that, the parent leaders also said, some parents are scared when they first come to the conference because they've never been to a conference before, and they're in Topeka, and they may not have been to Topeka before. We really need a welcome committee. And many of those parents volunteered to be on that welcome committee. And that was really wonderful. They took such a great leadership role, and felt really empowered also by the practitioners who were on the call to be able to speak up and have their voices heard. So that's, again, just one example of having parents utilize in that decision-making role. But here are a few other examples. So engage and involve parents in making decisions about activities and programs. Involve parents when developing school policies, emergency safety plans, or safety management. Create policies that require parent representation in decision-making groups, such as local health specialists. Provide parents the opportunity to be involved in emergency school or primary policy. And establish a parent advisory council here for providing guidance and direction for parent engagement and involvement in child care centers or in various programs. So one way to really get parents involved is to make sure we're utilizing our community colleagues. Child care centers or various programs can help with engaging parents and serve activities in the community by coordinating and getting information from community organizations, civic organizations, social service organizations, and state-based organizations. By working with community organizations, child care centers, or various programs can connect parents to the services and support they may need to strengthen their families. really looked into a lot because, there are sometimes barriers to parent involvement, and one of those is time. With the Parent Leadership Advisory Council, we often have our calls in the evening. Initially, we were having them around 6 o'clock in the evening, and we got some feedback from the group that that's right in the middle of dinner and bedtime routine. So we changed it. We made it later, and I laugh a lot of the time because I'll put this on speakerphone and I'll be cooking dinner and my chicken, but they laugh at me. I'll say, hold on, I need to flip this pancake. Hold on 1 second. But it's, just being flexible with our parents, being flexible with parent leaders and being able to really kind of work with the schedule that parents may have, because it is that important. It is that important to have our parents involved in that process. So here are some suggestions to sustain parent involvement. Survey parents, see what days and times are best for them. Schedule more than one meeting and activity opportunity. Schedule meetings on Saturday. Host meetings off the child care center campus. Offer a variety of opportunities and flexible times for parents to volunteer or be involved. Provide child care, provide food and refreshments, awards, door prizes. Parents love to get children's items to take home to a child. I was also at a parent cafe last week where they gave away bath towels, brand new bath towels. It's really nice that the parents really like that. And they gave away a door prize of pots and pans. And one of the dads wanted the pots and pans. He was so excited he was going to go home and cook a cake for his family. So he was really excited about that. It's fun. We often have paper toys, Play-Doh, different puzzles, things like that. Have parents take a lead role in planning, implementing, and hosting things. Really encourage parent leadership. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Bruce Bynum with Kansas Children's Service League, and he is a parent leader who's going to share his perspective with maternity care leadership.
Well, thank you, and I just enjoyed so much, and there's so much truth to everything's being said in my own journey as a parent leader. Is really the aspect of all those things that's been stated. First, you got to feel like you're important and that you actually, they want to hear your voice. That's one of the things. A lot of the conflict does happen to where they say time, effort, and for men sometimes it's a little different because we like to have construction, things to do, something to do with our hands, something to do with, even just building or some place like that. One of the fathers said he was never invited to a group, so that's why he never attended. And so invitation to a parent, whether especially men, is very important because they need to know that you really want them there. And so that aspect of where you really are, as BJ has said as well, and Mary, is do you really want them there? That's one of the basic principles I think we have to really look at. And then don't feel so threatened when you're sharing leadership. A lot of times parents sometimes may be very zealous and out there ongoing, and they may need a little guidance, a little help in order to make sure their ideas is not only being heard, but how can you implement that in a way that is gone to the policy, practice, procedures of agencies. And part of that is never talk over and with all these like KCSL, which is Kansas Children's Service League, of course, but if you start using all these anonyms, they may not understand exactly what you're meaning, or child in need of care, St. Case, or whatever the terms you may be talking about. Even when we're talking about protector factors, well, what are we saying? Let's just break it down. When I know how my child developed, a lot of times I won't be so frustrated. So a lot of things we have to really make sure that it's in lingo in terms that the families can understand and relate to, and they don't feel overwhelmed like they're being around a bunch of professionals who really want to talk over them and not talk to them. So those are things that I've found for myself helped to be more apt to share. And then the other thing, remember, all these parents, they love their kids. And so anything to do with their kids that's going to help better their kids, help their kids get farther in life, help their kids get an education, help their kids, do greater things than even they have done, it's always a plus. So when we talk about parent leadership, parent engagement, and shared all those other things, it's really about how do we help the families and their children? How do we work with the children? And me and my wife are now raising 4 grandkids. And so we wish there was a lot of these programs out there. I went to all the school things with my kids. I did all the other stuff with my kids, but I never really understood that I had a certain amount of authority or as a parent that I really could assert, like in an IEP or in other things that implemented my child's welfare, educational wise, or even after school programs. And so raising grandkids, there's a whole different array of things out there now. There's so many things that you can be a part of, be in, and be involved. One was Head Start. Not only my kids were in it, but my grandkids. I really loved a lot of the things that happened in the shared leadership there. But when I come into going to my first parent conference, leadership conference, I was unsure. So everything that Mary was saying about you don't know what it's about, what's really, do they really care? But one of the things that was most attractive was the free childcare and the hotel stay and the food. So when you think about those things, like, hey, I'm going to try this out regardless. Well, I may be scared, but I'm going to see what's going on. But when I really saw the parents, leaders, and when I saw how families led out and was able to have a voice and how it changed other families, how they look at, IEPs, how they look at, how do I be a leader for my child? What do I do to let people know that my child is important as well as all the other children, and I have a voice? And so when we talk about the parent leadership, parent perspective, and all the other things, it's really important that we see the value, because when a parent believes in your program, who's going to be your best advertiser? Who's going to be the one to tell what's going on and how they're so excited, as Virginia said, probably don't use that word, but so elated about the things that's going on in their families, and they're going to share. And we know the best advertisement by far is yet word of mouth. So it behooves agencies to really look at parent leadership and what is being said and how to really develop those things in order for that agency to really grow and affects the family. So as me and my family, as now we've got 2 teenagers in our home, and the other one's getting ready to turn 12 and the other one's 8, going to turn 9. It's really been kind of interesting how we have doing it all over again. But because me and my wife has been involved in the parent leadership and been involved on the committees and been involved on all these other things, we really feel more empowered even now than we did before with our grandkids. And they're doing great. Their education is doing great. And I always get to run things off my VJ, and I get to run things off of Mary, and then there's other people here at KCSL I can ask questions about. And sometimes they have to let me know, don't get so upset, don't get so mad. Here's how you do it. Here's how you work it out. And so I really appreciate that guidance for me as learning how to raise boys, which is a whole different thing for me and my wife. We had all girls, or have all girls, 4 daughters and 15 grandkids, but we're only raising 4, so that's the good part. And I really do appreciate this part of being able to share with people out there that it is so important that parents have that voice and able to be put in leadership positions, not only to your organization, but for that family. And it will make a life-changing difference for them. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Bruce. That was great. I've had the opportunity to work with Bruce many years, and he's just a great person. I remember the first time I met him at the Parent Leadership Conference, and I just saw all those leadership skills, and I knew, let's empower him and move him up the ladder, and he's just done a great job. One time I was asked to really kind of put parent leadership and the concept into a framework to see what my thoughts were on it. And so I came up with this quote, and of course I love the Wizard of Oz, and I love the dynamics of that movie. So parent engagement, parent involvement, and parent leadership. The yellow brick road to parent engagement, parent involvement, and parent leadership is a winding path of adventure, challenge, and wonderment, which leads to the realization of what wonderful skills you possess: knowledge, courage, and a heart filled with passion. So I think this really kind of sums up parent leadership. It is a journey. It's an adventure. and it's always wonderful to hear how parents are excelling and all the things they're doing. And I want to share one last thing with you. I received a message yesterday from one of our parent leaders who's on the Parent Leadership Advisory Council, our Kansas Advisory Council, and she was so excited. And she shared with me she will be leaving in less than 2 weeks for Washington, D.C. She's been asked to present before Congress as a parent, from the parent's perspective, which I'm very excited about. And so we're getting ready to be behind the lines and support her. So these are some of the great things our parents are having the opportunity to do, and they really make a difference in families and children's life. And so I'm thrilled that I've had the opportunity to work with the parent leadership concept here in Kansas. Last but not least, we want to thank all of you for the quality work and service you do for the children and their families. Has great impact here in Kansas, and we greatly appreciate all that you do. So thank you so much for joining us today, and hopefully you've gained some good information that you can take back and use within your agency and your programs. Have a good afternoon.